wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, right after I hang up, Ed says, I'm here.
Sorry.
British time.
Yeah, no, it's.
I figured when you
that...
said you were doing important era stuff that it was probably going to run late anyways, and then this migraine hit me. But you're here, so let's talk about what's going on with you. It is the Era Consortium 10th year anniversary of your association with Shades of Vengence. Did Shades of Vengeance exist before you, or?
Nope. I am the founder, owner, etc. of Shades of Vengeance.
And you haven't gotten in any trouble using the name Shades of Vengeance in the politically correct gaming sphere?
No. Should I have done?
I don't know. I mean, we get upset about everything now. All right, so tell us how. Which one do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about Era Friction?
You know what? Dealer's choice, please. I can talk about either for hours on end. I'm incredibly happy and proud with both of them.
You should be.
Let's. I'll tell you what. You started it with Era of the Consortium. Let's start with Era of the Consortium.
Yes, because everything leads back to Era Consortium, and then that gets us to where we are today with
exactly.
jumping in the 1980s. Perfect. So, what is Era Consortium, and how did it begin?
Era of the Consortium started because a friend of mine, Drew, said, "Hey Ed, that thing you're working on is really cool. You should publish it." So I did. I that's a very simplified version. It's actually quite a long story. So settle in for a minute, and I will tell it.
That's okay. I'm going to find the link to fiction, so please.
So
we're going to have the story of Ed Space.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back a few years to when I was at university, and I joined my university's indoor gaming society.
Indoor gaming, I love that.
Yeah, indoor gaming is what they called it. Yeah, and the indoor gaming society was all about tabletop role-playing games for the most part. There actually weren't that many board games and stuff that went on. It was mostly tabletop role-playing games. And the thing is that indoor gaming society liked to every year run a 24-hour game.
Nice.
And that would be very literally, the players would play for 24 hours, the GMs would have 4 hours sleep during this day. And we would create a universe that we would then run a game in. Now, I was actually, from my second session in the Indoor Gaming Society, I was a perma GM. My first session was a game of Paranoia, and that was actually my first ever tabletop role-playing game session in person. And the second week that I went, they were short of GMs. So they were like, "Hey, can anyone GM?" And I was like, "Yep, fine, I'll do it." I had 5 minutes of prep from the guy who had GM'd me the previous week, and then I ran my first game of Paranoia.
Right.
So from then on, I was a perma GM running all kinds of games, trying to work them out and figure out the Cortex system on the fly and all the rest of it. They very much shunned D&D, that group of people.
Understandable.
I don't think I ever saw a D&D game run ever in the 2 years I was in that society. So at the end of the year, we planned this 24-hour game, and I volunteered as one of the 6 GMs who was going to run. And there were only 2 of us, myself and a good friend called Adam Simmons. He and I basically came up with this idea around. We were asked, "Hey, we want sci-fi of some sort, but sort of like not like super sci-fi, not like Star Trek-y, but like kind of low sci-fi." So we came up with this idea around like a corporation-led thing with like a plan to destroy a planet and so on. And this is going to start sounding familiar to anyone who knows the Era of the Consortium story. So we ran the 24-hour game, but I got ill halfway through and I was not able to run the last 6-hour session. I was too unwell. And someone else picked it up for me. So I never got to see how the thing ended. I had to go home and vomit for a while. I think it was food poisoning, a bit sadly. So I missed out on that, and then I graduated. So I didn't really get an opportunity to do more. Now, I graduated, I got a real job for a few years, and boring. And after a while, I decided that I was a bit bored of just doing job things all the time, and I wanted to I wanted to do something. I wanted to run a role-playing game, so I decided to resurrect this role-playing game that I'd created, and I ran it for some family and friends. And actually, that image you've got there, or if you go back 2 images, it's Stiletto Unit, who are, I think, one more back. Yeah. So that group where you just had it there. I think it's forward one now. Sorry. Yeah, that one there. That is the group of people who played that first game. They were Stiletto Unit, and they ran around killing a lot of enemies because the game was a bit unbalanced at the time. And when we got to the end of their campaign, which I often run, and in fact I'll be running the sort of an abridged version of the last session of their campaign, and I do it frequently as an intro session. It's a really good intro session to Era of the Consortium, that one. When I got to the end of that campaign, my brother said, "Hey, if you write down the rules for me, I'll run the next one." So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Like, that sounds like a good idea. So I started writing down what all the rules were and how you decide what the roles were and how you decide whether it's a success or a failure and so on. In a very amateurish way, I'd say, relative to what it's grown into. And that was when I started having a chat with my friend Drew, and he said, "Wow, Ed, this is actually really awesome. I reckon you should publish this." And I was, well, you can use any word that you like about me, but I said yes, and now here we are. I've built Era of the Consortium from that initial book, which came out of that. In fact, here's a good one for you. No one's seen this in a lot of years. This is my 0.8. Where's my camera? This is my version 0.8 proof that I made to have a look at the inside. Anyone who's seen, wow, there are even placeholders in here. I was getting stuff ready. Here are a bunch of placeholders because we didn't have the artwork yet. Some of the artwork did exist already, and some didn't. Here's a piece of artwork that did already exist. There we are. So this was my version 0.8. In fact, I had this, and I went to a convention out in Canada. Drew was involved in those who run that convention, so he arranged for us to go out there and be there, and have a table and everything. So he dealt with all of that, and I had that version 0.8 book. I had some version 0.8 primers, which are a much thinner book, a 40-pager, and I ran that convention. I sat down and did some panels and talked about dice mechanics, talked about publishing a game and how I'd followed on my journey. I did that with Jonathan Lewis, who had come on board during the writing of the book to give me a hand with a lot of the story stuff. Like the actual story writing wasn't something I knew much about at the time. We sat down. We did those. We did those different panels, and it was sort of then that I realized that this could be a real thing that I actually do. Since then, Era of the Consortium, I published the original book. That is now 10 years ago. sort of this month that I published the original book. We ran a Kickstarter that was successful. I have run Kickstarters since. I've funded 18 expansions for Era of the Consortium. We've done anniversary versions, like a definitive version and an anniversary, 5th anniversary. I'm doing a 10th anniversary version that I'm working on at the moment, perhaps unsurprisingly. It's been really, really interesting. Yeah, that's how Era of the Consortium happened. I'm not done expanding this universe yet. I've got more to do, and in fact, I'm hoping to launch a Kickstarter at the beginning of next month, where we look at bringing some more expansions to life. I think there's more to do for me. I didn't lose you, did I?
Obviously, has there ever been a compare contrast between Era of the Consortium and all the other British future Warhammer clones?
Obviously, I don't know. I wouldn't call Era of the Consortium much to do with Warhammer. I mean, I appreciate looking at the front cover. I can definitely see why you would think that, or anyone would think that. Well, Space Marine-y, slightly Halo-y. That's the only piece of artwork where they look like that. It was done by a different individual who wonderful artist. Maybe went a bit too Warhammer for me for the front cover, but you know what? It's definitely a striking piece of artwork. I think in general, it does not feel very Warhammer at all.
Okay. So if it was
that specific character, movie, yeah, there's an aesthetic. But sorry,
if Consortium was a TV show or a movie, which would be the closest? We're thinking more closer to like The Expanse or DS9.
Well, I mean, it depends a little bit on who's playing, because half the time it's Galaxy Quest. But really, what it probably is most like, it's something like The Expanse, or it's it's sort of a low sci-fi. You don't just warp around between solar systems the whole time. It's sort of like quite political intrigue-y. Maybe a little bit of sort of Battlestar Galactica. There's definitely a lot of Babylon 5 in there. Sort of this feeling that you've got to deal with this political intrigue within the Consortium is a constant long-running theme, because it's just the setup within the game where the political landscape is a very important factor within the story.
Cool. So what are the 10-year anniversary plans?
Oh, we've got loads. We've actually got a little booklet. Let me just grab one and I will show you. I wrote a booklet about it because, I write things. And there's an entire schedule in here about all the things we're going to do. So what are we going to do? We're going to... we've just done the opening ceremony, which, it was quite basic. It's on Discord. And I'm going to make a news post about it, but I haven't done so yet. We're doing a number of... Sorry?
Please send me the link.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can post it when I fill in the rest of this.
Oh, absolutely, please. Everyone is welcome, of course. So it's worth saying, while I can't think about too many other things while I make this link. Everyone who participates in anything relating to the game or to the anniversary gets a reward. There's like an enhanced version of the schedule booklet. It's got loads of background about the Consortium, like a new double-page background A5 that I wrote. It's got some interview stuff. It's got one of the writers who I work with, Amy, wrote me a piece for it, and so on. It's got like loads of info about Era of the Consortium. But on top of that, if you are involved, you're going to get the Era of the Consortium rulebook primer so that you can play and run the game. We've got loads of competitions where you can get yourself an expansion, either an expansion that I choose or an expansion of your choice, depending on how well you do within the competition. But I'm going to come to that. So the first thing is we've got what we call the Celerity Cerebral Consortium Challenge, which looks a lot better when it's written than when it's said. But it was designed for that, so that's fine.
Is this on the website or?
This is on the Discord.
Okay, so
I've just sent you the link.
It is downloadable from the Discord. Okay.
The booklet's on the website. In fact, if you hop over to the store, it's at the top left of the products on the store. Like it's literally the first thing.
All right.
That one there. That's the schedule. You can download that. It's free, as you can see. So this consortium challenge, it's sort of quiz questions, trivia questions, as it were, about the consortium, about other things in general. We've got 10 questions. If you answer all 10 correctly, you get to choose an expansion. We'll send it to you for free. If you answer 5 correctly, I will choose an expansion that is appropriate for you to receive as a reward. So that's pretty cool. All you have to do is basically vote on. I wish I could share my. Can I share my screen? I don't know.
Don't know.
I can try. I've got a present thing here. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Share screen. Window. That one. Here we go. You might have to drag it into the show. There we go. Here it is. Our first question here is how many species of sentient beings are members of the consortium? My grammar is terrible. Sorry. At the start of 447 CE, before any events in that year occur. So was it 2, 3, 4, or 5?
Yes.
You can find this out relatively easily from the website. This is I thought, an easy question to start you off. We've got Jester believes it's 3 and Drew believes it's Jester believes it's 4 and Drew believes it's 3. So that's our first question. We've got 10 questions. If you get 5 right, you get an expansion that's compatible with the rulebook primer that you get for participating at all. And if you get 10 right, then you get to pick which expansion from the 18 that you would like to have.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool. I think that's fun. You can see on the left-hand side here, we've got a Consortium Memories thing. And Leo here shared a memory as an example about Red Hand Malachi, who is still believed to be a little bit of... he's sort of a bit of a legend, but not in a good way. Quite infamous.
Oh, okay.
He ended up blowing up his group, and seriously, some people still, as he says, some people still grimace at the very mention of his name.
Wow.
It was a good idea of Leo's to come up with this character, and he wanted to share that as a memory. Again, if you share a memory, you'll get the book. It's a 40-page rulebook. You'll get this in digital version for participating. Oh, that's the 0.8 one I just mentioned. It's a 40-page digital book. It contains everything you need to play. It doesn't have all of the character creation options, but it's got most of them.
Yes.
You're just slightly restricted because 40 pages was hard to fit everything in at the time. I've got the real one here. Sorry, I don't know why I didn't just do that. It's beautifully laid out. You know, it's got all the layout that you'd expect from an era book.
Your layouts
and everything you need to play. That's you get this in digital format for participating in anything, as I say. So if you have a memory, feel free to post it here. You know, if you play the game for the first time and you have a memory, then you feel free to post it there. We're running loads of games during the month as well, so everyone's welcome. We've got a character creation competition also. So if you are good at coming up with characters, and some people really are, way better than me, you can go ahead and create a character, build a concept and a background for that character, talk about who they are. One winner will get, let me get this right, an expansion of their choice. The first prize is for an expansion of your choice. The second prize is for an expansion chosen by me. Obviously, if you participate in more than one thing that wins an expansion, I'll make sure that you have the opportunity to get different expansions. I'm not going to send you the same thing 3 times. That's harsh. So yeah, there's a competition for who can come up with the best character. I think that's a lot of fun. And early next week, we've got an adventure seed competition beginning. We didn't want to launch everything all at once. We've got an adventure seed competition. So if adventures, coming up with adventures is your thing, you've just got to write up like an adventure seed for what it looks like, what your session would look like, and how it would play, and what the players would have to do and achieve within your session. So if you're like a big creator for stuff, just has to be a sci-fi session that broadly fits the consortium.
Okay, cool.
We've got a creator game night. So I will run games on the 19th of October at 7 o'clock BST. And I will do 30-minute demos for people who've never played the game before, want to give it a go. Someone, if you can just find 30 minutes, you want to come try it, everyone's welcome. Of course, I've just given you the link to this Discord. We've got some more quiz questions, obviously, because we're doing one roughly every 2 days or so, to get to 10 by the time we finish. And if you're seeing this late and you're thinking, oh no, but now I can't, we're leaving the quiz questions open until you get to until we brain working. And until they're all done, we're leaving all of the questions open. So you can come in on the last day and enter your answer for all the quizzes. And that's fine. We'll close off access eventually, but until then, we're leaving it open.
Okay, and there'll be a super duper 10th anniversary version of the game as well.
There will be a super duper 10th anniversary version of the game. Here is the 5th anniversary of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I did a nice little special edition cover. I've done a special edition cover for the 10th anniversary, which you can glimpse in small version on the front of this. And it features 2 very important characters. That is Elliot Dragon and Catalina, who, again, you'll become familiar with them as you become more familiar with the era of the Consortium lore. They are relatively important individuals.
Cool. Always nice to have some big stompy spaceship
absolutely. We've got I'm doing an AMA. You can ask me anything for an hour on the 23rd of October, and I will do my best to answer, seriously. And then we have a weekend, the 26th of October. We're at MCM Comic Con here in London. Not much use for you, of course, yourself being a little far away.
Unless you're going to pay my ticket.
I wish I could afford it. But we've got MCM here in London, where we're doing a panel about how to be creative and make sure your creative projects do actually succeed and finish. We find that's a thing that a lot of people struggle with.
Yes.
And then we're doing a workshop about creating a tabletop RPG in an hour. We did one of those last May, and we came up with something quite fun, which I'm hoping to be able to properly publish probably early next year now. I'm a little busy just at the minute, obviously, with all this stuff.
Yes.
But let me give you a quick teaser. I think this might be exclusive for you, but I'll give you a quick teaser.
Ooh, exclusive for all nobody who's watching.
There you go. All nobody who's watching. There we are. This is if you drag that one in. This is a shark ninja. Because this game is about diesel punk shark ninjas who fight alien robots and free humanity, who are being held as slaves by the alien robots who run on diesel and use humanity as a slave labor force to drill the oil. But the reason they free humanity is that humanity is tastier when it's free range.
So they have an ulterior motive.
They do have a slight ulterior motive. They do fight the robots, but they hope to they hope to free humanity from the alien robots in order that they can eat humanity, because humans are much tastier when they're free range. It's inspired by things like Street Sharks or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Biker Mice from Mars. Those are my three main inspirations for it. But this was designed by committee, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. People were coming up with just this insane stuff. We've got chainsword katanas. We've got razor wire nunchucks that are also flamethrowers. Just weird stuff for the fun.
Perfect. Sounds awesome.
It's a wonderful concept, and as you can see, the artwork is nearly done. It's just some writing's going to take a bit longer with all the Consortium stuff going on, and also Friction. I'm a little occupied just at the minute.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. You deserve a break. Take a break. You know.
Take a break. Only do Consortium and Friction. That's fine. Yeah, for now. And then finally, we're going to cap off the 10th anniversary of Era of the Consortium by having a 24-hour game.
Of Consortium.
Now, anyone who participates will once again get the rulebook primer, so they can go away and run their own thing. And you can play as many or as few sessions you like, as it's 24 hours. It's quite likely there's going to be a session at the right time for everybody. Yeah, it's the 2nd of November to the 3rd of November from 4 p.m. UK time. I think your time, that would be 10 a.m. when the first session is. And then we run 4-hour sessions throughout the night through to 4 p.m. the next day. Don't worry. If you're worried about me, don't worry. I am getting 8 hours of sleep, or probably 7 by the time I sort myself out. But yeah, I'm getting plenty of sleep during that day. I've found people who will happily run overnight, so I don't have to. And yeah, absolutely, everyone's welcome. This is all about enjoying Era of the Consortium. It's about giving away some free stuff. It's about having some fun and celebrating this world that, when I started, I would not have guessed it would last for 10 years. I really wouldn't. Like, it was not like a planned thing that it would still be around in 10 years and still be expanded and people would still be here playing it and so on. It's been a lot of hard work and in many senses very rewarding, but above all, I would probably say it's a surprise that this is still ongoing. I'm so pleased and proud that people want to keep playing it.
451 members on the Discord, so congratulations.
Yeah, a few of them say that they don't like sci-fi, so it's not, but not all Consortium, but without Era of the Consortium, none of the other games would exist either. Games, yeah. You know, if people hadn't, you know, if I hadn't had that review early on from RPG Nights that said, in his opinion, it was the sci-fi RPG game that he's been waiting for his whole life. You know, that's one person's opinion, and I don't expect everyone to share that. But, you know, something like that can really inspire you. It can really push you forwards.
Congratulations. Yeah. And
that was 10 years ago now.
Yeah, now we're here. It's the year 2024. And to celebrate the year of 2024, Ed has decided to go back to the 80s. So I
love action movies. What can I say?
Where did this come from?
So we do you remember the story I told about Era Kaiju?
Yes.
About how, like, Leo said, "Oh, you could never make a kaiju game," and I'm like, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
It's sort of a similar kind of thing, not quite as direct. I mean, that really was very much like, "Oh, Era Kaiju, yeah, this." I've always been a fan of action movies, and it's also a genre that my wife and I can sit down and watch and enjoy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's Commando or Terminator 2 or Die Hard or I don't know, Sixth Day or Hard Target, or, you know, you name it, I've probably seen it if it's an action movie. I love action movies, and I was relatively recently, I should say, I was doing an Era Zone thing And the Era Zone is like an extra magazine that I do, like a little zine that has additional... Oh, if you go a bit further, there's a very cool GIF about character creation that is at least animated and you're not sat on the same screen the whole time. But basically, I thought, oh, I know, I could do this as my Era Zone thing. Let's do this because it's an idea. And then I sat down and I thought about it, and I thought, well, the Era D10 rule set is great. It is. I'm very happy with it. But for some games, it's a bit much. And Era Kaiju was the first proper full game to explore reducing down the rule set a little bit to 6 stats. But really, it was Era Friction that trod that ground first and proved that it would work. And, I didn't want to have, like, huge numbers of stats where I'm going, right, okay, here's all the things that you can have. And, I wanted to have someone be able to make an action hero in minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's no intelligence stat for your action hero because, really, no. And I thought, right, but there are obviously games out there that do action movies. There's a whole bunch of games, and I've even done a couple. Like Era Hitman is a very action movie-esque game. But I thought I want to do something that I don't see other people do. And I decided to make Era Friction about not only the action heroes and their world, but you know how action movies are quite legendary from the 80s and 90s for having continuity errors?
Yes.
I thought, what if that was actually a core gameplay mechanic? Where, like you gain these friction points by behaving like an action hero. So by walking away from an explosion and not looking back, or by riding on the bottom of a tank when you need to stay concealed but follow the tank, or by using a crane in a car chase.
Yes.
Just something insane and ridiculous that would be completely at home in an action movie, you will gain friction points. Maybe to take a more recent example, like the Transporter, if you were to just cover yourself in grease for no reason right before a hand-to-hand fight scene.
Yes.
Like you just do that because that's just a thing he does in those movies for no apparent reason, really.
Just to get his shirt off. Yes.
He does. He does just to get his shirt off, indeed. So, doing something like that gets you a friction point. And you can do that as often as you like. You can build up friction points. And then when you want to, I don't know, you're firing your handgun and you run out of ammo, but you want to keep firing. So like the infinite ammo cheat that is in most action movies.
Yeah, the John Woo infinite ammo.
A couple of friction points.
Yeah.
You'd spend a couple of friction points to be able to keep firing, right? Let's say you want to have a continuity error so your clothes change, so you blend into the crowd so no one can find you. Maybe that. Or I don't know, someone during a playtest there were 2 interesting ones during that particular playtest. The first person, he kept changing his drink from like a beer into a martini, into a champagne, into a wine, and whatever, depending on who he was talking to. It was just like a continuity error. He'd constantly have a different drink in his hand every time you looked back at him. And that gave him more like ability to persuade the person he was talking to that he was the appropriate kind of person to talk to, right? And then the other person in that game, they were on top of I think it was called High Cost Tower, because it was quite expensive. There was a helicopter of ninjas heading for them. So the group decided to pool their friction points and make a car appear on the rooftop, on the top of the skyscraper, so that they could the transporter type character could then jump in the car and drive it off the roof, dive out before it obviously goes off the roof, but hit the helicopter to blow up the helicopter of ninjas before it could reach them on the roof, and they'd have to fight the ninjas.
Brilliant. That's totally 80s.
I mean, it's the idea is that you can just make this stupid continuity error. Oh, I didn't see that car there before. It's there now. And it's supposed to be a very silly version of action movies, because serious action movie stuff, it's been done, you know. But I wanted to echo the insanity of Commando or Raw Deal, you know, the sheer joy of Arnie is just massacring 85 people in 20 minutes, like without a scratch.
Yes.
For no reason. Like, as in, there's no reason he should not have been shot to death.
Yes.
But no, he just catches this army by surprise and kills everyone. I wanted to capture that feeling in gameplay, and I'm pleased to say it really has been reflected in the playtest that we've run. Even more extreme, you know, that just ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Just
those Roger Corman beer and
ridiculous
popcorn, $2,000.
You know,
we've got a weekend. We've got some cars.
Here,
yeah,
you know, just
Fast and the Furious, Transporter, all those. Shoot them up.
All of those things.
Yeah, it's a great
genre. All of those. And I've never seen a game that really harnessed not only the action here, I feel, but the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of a lot of games like Everyday Heroes and stuff like that try and redo.
And you can play it that way. And you know, there's nothing wrong with playing those games and playing it that way, but I've not seen a game where it's like it's the core of it that is supposed to be ridiculous. You know, it's supposed to be just insane.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to do with Era Friction. That's what I was trying to build and deliver. And I'm pleased to say I think I have done. You know, I'm very pleased and proud of Era Friction. It really does deliver what I wanted it to in exactly the way I wanted it to when I started. And beautiful artwork that we're looking at. You know, we're watching this GIF.
Artwork from bare-chested man. Dude, he's all oily.
Scroll down a bit. There's one of a lady as well.
Okay.
Not a bare-chested lady, I'm afraid, for anyone who was so much trouble. That, but
just a totally not Sarah Connor action lady.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe it's not Sarah Connor. Exactly. Totally 100% not at all.
Totally not her.
Not. No, she's not wearing her hair tied back, so it can't be Sarah Connor.
It can't be, yeah. And she's got a tattoo.
Obvious.
So.
Yeah. There you go. Can't be.
Can't
Impossible.
be. Impossible.
Yep.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, you know, the idea is that you can build your characters in all these different ways, and you're watching these 6 stats pop up on the screen. Might obviously is your physical strength, reaction, clear, defense, hopefully clear. It sort of defines your health or your ability to dodge out the way and that kind of thing, your ability to resist damage. Luck, always a core mechanic for Era D10. Health, pretty obvious. Charisma, I think also pretty obvious, you know, for persuading and so on. Yeah, I'm sorry, Shadow and Sun. I felt like I might get in trouble from Kickstarter if I don't have gratuitous. If I do have gratuitous,
I mean, there could be rules, you know. She's a woman with she's tough as nails, but she's got a heart of gold, and she falls for the hero, and she has to take her top off.
Well, if that's how you choose to play, that's absolutely fine. I don't judge.
One of the rules of the 80s is that for some reason the woman always has to take her top off, or be in the bath, or something like that. And
I actually think they managed to avoid that in Terminator 2.
And there's always a gun someplace, under the table, or gotta have all those.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I search the room. Okay, I look under the table to make sure there's not a gun there. Yep, there's not a gun there. Continuity error. There's a gun there now. You know, that kind of thing is definitely a playable thing within Era Friction.
Awesome. It sounds awesome. Sounds like a game I'd enjoy.
It's so much fun to play.
Yeah.
It really is. I can't overstate how much fun I had.
You should record some of your playtests, or have you already done that?
I haven't done, in fact.
And put them on.
Because what I did is I did them. The playtests I've done, they've been in person at conventions so far. So recording wasn't very practical because it was a bit noisy.
Understandable.
But if I run an online one, then I definitely will record it.
Cool.
I've actually got loads. I've got a huge backlog of sessions from all the era games that I have never edited. I recorded almost every game that I ran during COVID, so I've got hundreds of sessions probably.
Oh, I think that's something people would want to see and
yeah,
attract more
absolutely.
fans.
I've got a wonderful individual who is currently working on editing them for me because I just don't have the time to edit hundreds of hours of sessions, unfortunately. Well, I mean, I could, but then I wouldn't be writing things like Era Friction or Era Shark Ninja, and you wouldn't want to miss out on those.
But I cannot live in a world that does not have Era Shark Ninjas.
I can't believe that no one has ever yet, as far as I can tell, I did some research, no one has ever come up with a game where there are diesel punk shark ninjas that are fighting alien diesel-powered robots to free humanity because they want to eat humans and they taste better when they're
that is a very, very extremely
How did anyone not come up with this? It's so obvious, right?
Yes, I know. And just think of the possibilities of the books, the comic books, the breakfast cereal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The breakfast cereal. Oh, man.
Every issue ends with one of the sharks eating a human. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be human-shaped like bits of breakfast cereal, right?
Sugar frosted human flakes. Send in 4 box tops and we send you a human. Thanks for freeing me, Mr. Shark, even though I know you're going to eat me later on.
Yeah, go have fun, exercise. Why didn't you pump some weights and maybe run around the field a few times?
Yeah, so they don't catch you a second time. Yeah, that's totally why.
So they don't. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, you'll be able to out wrestle all the robots.
The sequel where the humans rebel against their shark oppressors.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the sharks have to beat the aliens first, and that's going to take a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for 10th anniversary Consortium. Congratulations. Era Friction sounds like my kind of game. Era Shark Ninjas sounds like my kind of game. We've got Kaiju. You know where I'm leading. We've got spaceships. We've got the 80s. When's Era Sentai? Because I throw this at him every time I talk to him.
It turns out that that there's someone I know who is quite interested in Sentai and might be interested in a little bit of a collaboration to build an Era Sentai. I'm therefore.
Whoever he is, he's really lucky.
Well, I'm really lucky that he really wants to do it. For anyone who's listening and watching, it is in fact your very own OGGM who has agreed to sit down with me in the new year and begin some work on Era. We'll call it Era Sentai for now. I'm sure we'll come up with a better name, but I think it's about time we tackled this one.
Sure,
and I've got a very
you got a couple other things, but yeah. Definitely
I've got a very enthusiastic playtester as well who desperately wants to be involved in trying it out because he's a massive fan of Sentai.
That's just me.
And that one is not you. No, that's someone else.
Cool.
But yeah, it's going to be a challenge for me because it's an area where I know a lot less. And although I'm enthusiastic, and you've been sending me some links for some time now about some of the crazy stuff.
The links, but
I'm quite looking forward to what you and I come up with and how we decide to approach it in a way that harnesses that feel. Because it's one of the things about the Era games that I'm most proud of. It's not. Whether it's Final Fantasy or Dark Souls or action movies or whatever, I'm not finding something that already does it and reverse engineering it. I'm starting from my own place and building something from the bottom up, which has the right feel for what it is that we're going for.
Yes, that's the way I look at it too. Once those core rules, and then everything else just. Now take the core rules and apply them to supers and get that feel that I want, or space, or
right.
whatever.
But you've got to change the core rules to get it right. Just as I have here with Era Friction, where normal Era of the Consortium, for example, has 8 attributes and 18 skills, and there are 6 attributes only in Era Friction because that's what fits the game. You can make a character in this game in under 2 minutes if you have a concept in mind. You literally, for the 6 stats, you choose 1 to be 5, 1 to be 4, 1 to be 3, and the rest are 2. As you can see there, that's Defense 5, Reaction 3, Might 2, Luck 2, Health 2, and Charisma 4. 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2. Once you make that decision, you have to write down the things your character can do as a background, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And it fits this game because you should be making someone really quickly. You shouldn't be going into all the intricate details and taking ages to build a character for this kind of game. It should be quick and easy and even adaptable. Because, charisma might mean that you have a lot of charisma, but you don't talk very much. Or it might mean you're Eddie Murphy from Beverly Hills Cop. And both of those should be valid. Right? Where you get through everything by just talking a lot. Throw everyone off because of the things you're saying. So I really wanted to achieve that with Era Friction. And when you and I have a look at Era Sentai, I am going to be wanting to achieve the feel, the taste of Sentai.
The taste of Sentai.
That sounds like I'm a cannibal now.
I'm the tasty humans.
Tasty human Sentai. Yes, I promise I don't go around eating Power Rangers, honestly. I am not, in fact, Vengence or any other similar entity.
Damn you, Hasbro, for dropping the ball. All right, I'm gonna let you go, Ed, because you're very, very busy, and I have a migraine. But I did want to talk about the 10th anniversary and the thing. I will add the links momentarily and get everybody on the Discord. But again, Ed, thanks for reaching out from all the way across the pond.
Anyone who wants to join our 10th anniversary celebration, whether you've heard of Era of the Consortium before or you've never even heard of it until right now, you are so welcome. Come try the game. Try it out. See what it's like. See why it's survived for 10 years, why people are so passionate about it, why we're still playing it. I think it's worth half an hour or maybe even 4 hours of your time.
I do too.
I think you'll enjoy it. And there's loads of free, cool stuff that you can get. Join us, please. You're very welcome, whoever you are.
All right. Thanks, everybody who's around and the weird, timey, wibbly wobbly nonsense. Thanks, Ed and Ed family, for letting us have some Ed time. Ed needs to finish Era Friction and then take a break. Take a winter break before he starts Shark Ninjas, I think. Because look, he's
yeah, I do have Era Soul Mist to write still, but
stop it. Another one we're gonna have to talk about. All right, Ed, please take care.
Oh yes,
time to talk to me. I will talk to you later, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, anytime, man. You're my favorite person to talk to. You're the only person I talk to.
Oh wow,
you're my favorite person to talk to. All right, see y'all. Let's find some appropriate goodbye Ed music. Well, since we're talking about big stompy mechs.
Shattered dreams, melt a giant fucking screams.